Hey guys, Matt here from Docs Photography. Today I will be talking about why I moved from Canon to Nikon. I started off with a Canon 7D with a 24-70 f2.8L lens. I then bought an 85 1.4 Sigma, and then got a 70-200 f2.8 IS Mark II USM. So I got a nice little set of lenses, and was ready to invest in a second body. I wanted to get a second body along with another lens I was looking to get, which was a more wider lens. I think it's a 16-35, to complete the Holy Trinity. I always didn't like the noise performance of the 7D, so I was looking mainly for a camera that was as good as the 7D, but there was a couple of things I wanted. I wanted full frame, and I wanted much better noise. I didn't want a little bit better noise, because the 7D noise performance is really not that great at all. You hit 2000 and it just looks awful. So that's the first thing I'm going to show you, is noise performance between what I've got now and what I had then, and that is the biggest reason I swapped. So let's get into Lightroom. Okay, so straight away you can see here, this is a photo from the 7D. Using the 70-200 f2.8L IS Mark II USM, it's a mouthful, at 1/250th of a second at f2.8 ISO 2000. Now, for modern DSLRs, prosumer to pro 2000 ISO is not much at all. It really shouldn't be something that a camera at £1,000 price range should struggle with, but unfortunately, as you've seen when we open Lightroom, it is very, very noisy. Now, as you can see here, as far as sharpening and noise reduction, there is nothing done. Even if we try and take the colour out of the noise, it's apparent goes away, but it still looks awful. We can even noise reduct it, but I don't think it's going to do much. Well, it does take away, but when you do that, it takes the sharpness of the image away. So you'd have to compensate by sharpening it, and it's just not. It could be workable, but it's not great for for a camera you pay that kind of price for. You don't expect it to be giving you noise like this. So now we'll go over to the image from my D3. So here, 1/5000th of a second at f2.8, ISO 2000, 70-200 f2.8 VR2. So same lens, yeah, different settings apart from, same f-stop, same ISO, different shutter speed, but shutter speed won't affect the ISO and the noise. Yeah, it will make the image sharper, but it's irrelevant. We're looking just at noise. Now, straight away you can see it's not cluttered with just noise. It's clean. The place that you see noise the most is in the dark areas, up here at the rear of the other dog, and here on the shorts and jacket you can see noise, but apart from that, on the place of focus, there is really no noise. There's probably noise in the nose if you go really, really close in, but there's not an incredible amount of noise. And let's go back to the other image and do an even further crop. Just look at, there's just a crazy amount of noise. I don't think it's unusable. If it was more sharp, if I was able to put my shutter speed up higher, then I would. But the thing is, if I was to put my shutter speed up higher, it would get darker, so I'd have to then compensate by putting my ISO up even further. Now the next increment, I believe, is 3200. So that's an extra 1200, ISO on top of this, which is giving me such a ridiculous amount of noise. So I really don't think that would have been a smart idea to do. I don't think the images would have come out well at all. So that's the biggest reason I swapped. So I was looking for a new camera, and I was talking to a friend, and he was buying a Nikon D50-100, and I decided to put in 7D versus D50-100, thinking that the 7D is just gonna walk all over it. And I came to this website, snapshot.com, and this you can compare all cameras. So here I've compared the 7D versus the 50-100, and the winner is the 7D, runner up by a couple of points. So let's look at why the 7D has won. It's weather sealed, less shutter lag, larger viewfinder, more cross-type focus points, significantly faster, 8 frames a second, more viewfinder coverage, has built-in focus motor. With the lenses that I had, that didn't matter. Has a pentaprism. I'm not really, I don't really know much about the viewfinder technology. More focus points, higher true resolution, just a couple more megapixels, faster shutter speed, longer battery life, and thinner. Now let's look at the advantages of the Nikon D50-100. Significantly better image quality. The overall rating of the sensor in the D50-100 is 80, and the overall rating of the sensor in the 7D is 66. Now remember the price range between these, 479 and 869. That is, £400 difference we're talking here. That's not, chump change. But yet in the camera that's £400 cheaper, you get significantly better image quality. Not just a little bit, a lot better, by 20%. So, and in a camera, that's what it boils down to, your image quality. It doesn't boil down to, a faster shutter speed or 8 frames a second or 800 shots versus 660 shots in the battery. Yeah, these are good things to have, but at the end of the day, as a photographer, it boils down to having better image quality, the best image quality you can get. Because when you hit that, that shutter, you want to be able to know that you're getting the best image quality you can out of your camera for the money you've paid for it. So why pay £869, on a 7D when you can get 20% better image quality in a Nikon D50-100, which is £400 cheaper? Now, better color depth, more dynamic range, better ISO capabilities, larger sensor, better ISO boost, slightly cheaper. I don't think £400 is slightly cheaper, but if we go up to compare, okay, D7000 versus 7D. Boom. Compare. Okay. So in this instance, it's a tie. Now both of these cameras cost the same, I think. My computer is so slow. 869, 886. So the 7000's a tiny bit more expensive, but here we can see there's 5 advantages of buying the 7D over the 7000, and I'm not even going to count how many more advantages there are of the 7000. Better image quality. It's got the same sensor as the 5100, so 16 point something megapixels, 16.1 megapixels, same sensor, so it's better in all these things. Color depth, ISO again. It's even got some, uppance on the 7D's video capabilities, and the fact of the autofocus, contrast detection, more focus points, has more card slots, longer battery life, slightly more lenses available, larger sensor, smaller, better boost, slightly lighter. So if you were to pay the same for the 7D, you'll get all of the advantages that the 7D has on the D50-100, plus all of the advantages that the D50-100 has on the 7D. So Nikon has this, as far as photography goes, has this in the bag, I think personally. They've got, better sensors in the smaller cameras than the Canon 7D have in the more expensive cameras, and then they have those great sensors in their bigger cameras, but with all of the the pro body stuff that you need in the bigger cameras. Like the 7000's much bigger than the D50-100, has a bigger grip, it's got faster shooting, all this stuff that the D51 hasn't got, because it hasn't got a pro body, but the D50-100 has a pro sensor, and that is what I think personally Nikon have gotten right here. Now, this is a little bit scientific, and I don't personally understand it all completely, but it's just something that I've seen, and it just shows you once again that Nikon have obviously got, this completely under wraps as far as photography goes. I'm still a lover of Canon when it comes to video. Their video is sensational. I've only used my D50-100 a couple of times for video, and it's chalk and cheese between the 7D and the D50-100. The 7D's video is just incredible. It's one of the reasons I bought it to start with, but now I'm solely just trying to do photography, so having a video mode, it doesn't really bother me anymore. So here we can see this is an overall score for sensor ratings by a company called DxOMark. They have all they test all the cameras, and they give it an overall rating. And I believe the Phase 1 is a medium format camera. Now, I'm not too familiar with this kind of stuff, but I believe they're really expensive. And here we can see on top, I've put no filters in, just overall score. You can see this, no brand or anything. I'm not trying to cheat or show you that Nikon's just the best completely. But here, Nikon D800 overall has the best sensor here. Now second, Phase 1, again I think it's a medium format camera, I'm not entirely sure, but second, third, D4, Phase 1, don't know what that model number is. Another Nikon, so that's 3 Nikons we've had already. Another Phase 1, Pentax, D3S, another Pentax. So that's 4 Nikon cameras that are in the top 10 before you even get to a Canon. That sort of shows something. And still, D3S, I think it's a 2-year-old camera. D3X, again, I think it's a 2-year-old camera. I know it's at least a year old. 5D Mark III only came out this year. How have Canon not been able to, come up with something that can compete with a 2-year-old camera? Again, this is my camera here, D3. Again, It's only one away from, you know, a camera. In fact, it's not 81. They're, you know, their overall score is the same. So a 4-year-old camera is competing with Canon's cameras today. It's, you know, that in theory should speak for itself. Now, I'm not just trying to, you know, blow Canon away. That I think they're great. I've always loved them for video. I think they're incredible for video. I just think at this time, Nikon have it as far as cameras go. Their lenses, Canon have some great lenses. Their 1.2s, their 85s and 50s are incredibly good. That 70-200 I still think is better than the VR2 70-200 Nikon. But as far as their bodies go, they're just not on par with Nikon. ISO, they're just, I don't think they know how to control it, or they probably do know how to control it, but they know people will buy their stuff anyway, so why go their max now when, you know, maybe they can hold off a bit. I don't know what they're doing, but Nikon seem to be rolling all their stuff out now. I mean, a camera that has 36 megapixels, as soon as everybody heard that, everybody thought, oh, great, you know, it's going to be awful at ISO, because that D700, that was primarily because it had a great ISO. It held its ISO really well at high ISO, and it had full frame. So that's, everybody was hoping for another camera like that, you know, a wedding photographer's camera. But then Nikon bring out this 36 megapixel camera, and as soon as they hear that, everybody's like, oh, it's going to be awful at ISO, because the more megapixels you have, I think it's harder to control ISO, or ISO is more noticeable, or something like that. But Nikon they've seriously nailed it with the D800, so they have, and that's all I have to say. Rant over, really. Those are the reasons I switched. I now have a D5100 as my backup body. I have a D3 with a 70-200 VR2 f2.8, a 14-24 f2, and a 50 1.4G. So this has been Matt from Docs Photography. If you want to check out any of my photography, link to my Facebook page below, and you can follow me on Twitter and add me on Facebook. So I'll see you next time.